Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Movie Minds. I'm Joe.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And we are finishing off the month of October with another Halloween-related video because people said we should do one more. We have a face-off between two classic films. We've got Dracula, Frankenstein. And I believe we're going to be working through the show and competing, essentially, kind of presenting which film we think is the best. Brad, you've got Dracula. I have Frankenstein. And Brad, you never saw either of these before, so you're going to kind of weigh in, think, contribute, see which one you think is better. Yeah. But before that, we're going to read some comments from our previous video, and then we're going to do a top 5 of 5 spooky films that we recommend.
Before we do that, though, Brad, I couldn't help but notice, what you drinking over there, man?
Oh, no.
Brandon, this is a delicious hot beverage from Rutter's Farm Stores. Rutter's. Why go anywhere else?
Nice.
It's going to make me go off the rails, try to be so professional. But yeah, I didn't. Somehow in the administrative meeting, I missed the Rutter's deal.
Oh, I'm from York County.
Oh.
And a little backstory. Like we said, we are all teachers, and I asked some of my classes, forget the Sheetz versus Wawa debate. Rutter's is the dark horse in this, and I had one student agree with me, and I couldn't believe it. So I told this to Brad, and Brad was like, "Yeah, I agree. Rutter's is way better than both of those." So anyway.
I've only been there once, but I did like it. So they have my vote for now.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. You want to share some comments from our previous videos?
Absolutely.
Mr. G, as they say.
Yeah. So as you guys know, we did change channels. We were on Joe's page, Merlin the Mighty, and we actually just got our own page. If you go to the second video in the description, you can find our new channel at Movie Minds Podcast. But I've been watching this thing, the last couple weeks, and first off, thank you to all our fans. We blew this up to I think we have over 220 views, and none of that would be possible without your support. So we love you guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And just some of the comments on here. Let's see. So, do you want me to read the names, or some of them I know for a fact we can't read their names?
Let's just read it.
Well, there are usernames, monikers, so you don't reveal the real name, of course. But yeah, if you have or make up a username, and they'll know who it is. You'll know who you are.
Okay. So the first comment we got was a rock on emoji. Very cool. That was at Kenny Ulysses.
Ooh. Long-time subscriber. Thank you for sticking around. Kenny's been with me for years.
Awesome. So thank you, Kenny. This person at LF1997 wrote, "Still waiting for the Mr. G timestamps." Got a few of those tonight. I didn't realize the timestamps would be this
This is the big part of the show. People are really wanting the timestamps, man. You shouldn't have built them up so much.
Hey, it's my OCD. At SJM Hadsock 4586 wrote, "Awesome movie to start with a classic." Couldn't agree more.
That was SJM. Yep.
And that was our first episode, Halloween. Mm-hmm. Just to be clear, not this one. At EF6062 writes, "This is the best podcast in the world. Probably the best thing I've ever seen." I know for a fact who this is, and I purposely did not say the right username because I'm pretty sure it's someone under the age of 18. He knows who he is. Thank you. Oh, we have a visitor.
And now our views go through the roof. There's a cat. There we go. Hello, Tom.
Hey.
One of our colleagues wrote, "Really great analysis of my favorite horror movie. It was fun listening to all of your thoughts." And there
we go. And that's what editing's for. Keep it going, people. Time is going away.
She also wrote, "Clenching your butt," 2 laugh emojis. Ladies and gentlemen, that might have to go on a T-shirt. I mean, people love that comment from you, Brad.
Oh, that's what it's all about.
And that was it. That was all the comments. So anything you want to add?
No, thank you very much for leaving comments. So remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave comments. We will, as this goes on, we look at the comments. We can respond to them. Are we going to be doing polls?
Yes, that is one thing I'm planning to put up. Please, in comments, let us know some movies or movie-related discussions you would like us to have on our future videos. You can also listen to us on Substack if you want to do something and listen to us. Some people made that recommendation as well. So if you just want to listen along and not watch a video, check out Substack. But yes, we are planning to put up some polls. I'm waiting for some more comments to see what you want, and that'll be one of the videos we possibly review next month.
Awesome.
Cool.
So our next segment, I believe, is 5 spooky films. Okay, that was the description. So we could probably play with that a little bit differently. Who wants to go first? I feel like you started with the first part, so it should be one of us.
Definitely.
I'll throw one out there.
Okay.
I won't have to go through all 5. Let me just throw it out. You want me to do all 5? I don't even know if I have 5.
Well, you know what? Just list a couple why you think they're good for spooky season, and we'll go from there.
The first one, of course, I told you guys before, is The Shining.
Mm.
So The Shining is not only a great horror movie, it's just a great film by one of the greatest directors, Stanley Kubrick, with one of the great actors, Jack Nicholson, who does Jack Nicholson, let me talk about The Shining. I was thinking about this the other night. There's certain roles. There's some movies we're going to do in the future I would say this about. There's certain roles I can't imagine anybody else doing that role. In fact, imagining someone else makes me sick. I can't imagine anybody else doing that role.
I feel that strongly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So Jack Nicholson in that, you see the complete transformation of the character. He's completely maniacal. It's both like axe murderer, haunted house, but there's some really deep stuff going on there within the family, a lot of symbolism. So, of course, it's based on the novel by Stephen King, but the movie is not the best adaptation of the novel itself.
No, but personally, I like it a little better, and I'm a big Stephen King fan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a good choice.
I would start with The Shining, too. So, The Shining, the acting, the music, it's creepy, and it's one of those kind of movies that you can rewatch many times. So I want to start there.
Okay, cool. Well, then I guess we'll come back around to me. My first thought, because I actually had a really tough time with this, guys. As you both know, I like movies, and I'm beginning to find that I actually am a big horror guy. I was looking through, I just decided to look at, I don't know, I needed help. So Rotten Tomatoes, 200 best horror films. And I was looking through it and then making a list of all the ones I liked, and I had a hard time narrowing it down to just 5. So I decided I'm just going to pick a couple segments and go from there. First one that comes up, Rosemary's Baby. I think it's a classic film, a great thriller in its own right. I think because I know we don't have a lot of time, but if you've never seen it before, it's one of those films that is really, there's great cinematography, but it's very claustrophobic, mostly taking place in a couple areas, very character-driven, mostly focusing on one woman basically going through this pregnancy that might be with something that's potentially very evil, and there's some weird cult elements going around, and you're not really sure, is she just losing her mind, or is there something more sinister at work? She does a really excellent job. Fantastic film, once again, heavy on the atmosphere. Honestly, one of my favorite films for the 60s. I love Rosemary's Baby. That was just the first one I picked. And not saying it is one of my favorite horror movies, but I'm not going to go into rankings now. Rosemary's Baby, check it out sometime if you want to see something frightening, but a classic.
Yeah, I thought about, when I was making a list, I thought about Rosemary's Baby. And it's great. The ending is so over the, it's so over the top.
Kind of ridiculous, but it almost needs it for how dark the movie is. Yeah,
it is good.
So for me, if you tuned into the first episode, you found out. Not only did you find out I don't like jump scares, but 2, the horror genre is not my forte. Just like, if you're a business teacher, you have different fortes. My forte is marketing, so therefore I don't like teaching accounting. So when it comes to movies, I love comedies. I love thrillers from the 90s, but I never got into horror films. So the way I approach this top 5, just because I don't have the bandwidth of horror films like you guys have, hopefully this time next year that changes. I went with ones that I want to watch.
Ooh.
So ones that you probably will see on this show at some point. But the biggest one that stuck out for me I've seen bits and pieces. I've been talking about it with you guys a lot lately, but Blair Witch Project, being a marketing teacher, the way they marketed that film, like I said, I have not seen the whole thing. Another reason why it's kind of special for me is I grew up about probably 35 minutes from where that movie was filmed. Grew up right north of the Mason-Dixon line. Obviously, that film was from Burkittsville, Maryland. Maryland's like a 5-minute drive from my house. Burkittsville, probably 35, 40 minutes. So it's one that, the bits and pieces that I have seen of it, I like it. And like I said, I'm saving the whole thing for when we do it on the show. So I know you guys have seen that movie. You guys were probably you're a little bit older than I am, so your mom actually probably allowed you to see that movie. I was 5 in 1999, so I was not allowed to go to the theaters and see that movie. I know you saw it in theaters, Joe. And how old were you in 1999?
Probably like 9 or 10.
Okay,
like
so
that.
still pretty young.
I
Brad,
couldn't see that. Yeah.
You just graduated high school, right?
That was the year I graduated in '99.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that one?
Blair Witch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna probably cover that
keep
down the road.
Okay.
So
You don't ask him.
I'm
His
not
thoughts. We'll be here all night.
Yeah.
Kind of Blair Witch.
yeah.
I think we both think it's a good choice to talk about. Right?
Yeah. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
down the road.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure. Yeah.
So I earn my props. Like I've seen a lot of these, but at least I'm picking.
See, I
Good
like
ones.
it. Marketing in. You're hooking them in. Like next time we'll talk about.
Oh, you have to.
That's good.
You
That's
have
good.
to.
All right. Well, we're back around. All right.
Let's do another one.
Yeah.
One that came to mind. So I was trying to think of a different. The Shining is a big one there. Another one that came to mind is American Werewolf in London.
Oh yes,
So-
special effects
yeah.
extravaganza. Sorry,
That is-
No, you're good.
Have you seen that, Brandon?
I saw. So after I watched Frankenstein, it came up as you may also be interested in this movie, and I just didn't have the time to watch it. So no, I haven't seen it yet.
Not to be confused with Werewolves of London.
Correct.
Or American Werewolf in
In
Paris.
Paris.
Ah.
But American Werewolf in London's really cool. It is. It starts out in the Highlands in northern England, so the setting's cool there. They go to that weird pub. It's also got some humor in it.
It's got some comedy.
Some
Wow.
comedy
So
in there,
like
and
that.
the transformation scene is the werewolf is really awesome.
Better or worse than the Howling one?
I think it's a little better.
It's up there.
I like it better. You really see how he's in agony as he's transforming. It's playing Blue Moon song, the whole body transformation. It's really cool.
Good choice. See, he's pulling them out there. I sort of made a list, so this helped me remember. Okay, second one. Oh, second one's a bit of a throwback. One I did watch way too young. Maybe not the same caliber as Rosemary's Baby, but I think it's fun if you want something a little bit lighter. Critters. It is kind of a spin-off of Gremlins. I actually didn't see Gremlins until a couple of years ago. Critters was the one I grew up with, and I loved it. They scared me,
Mm-hmm.
but I just think it's really cool because it's got the sci-fi element. I love the fact that they're criminals on the run, but there's the antithesis because they are tiny little fuzzballs that are basically teeth. So you don't want to take them seriously, but they can really mess you up. I remember like I said, probably watching it too young. Some of the POV shots going under the bed and then and like all the blood there, and oh my, like just thinking about getting in those things' jaws. So love Critters. I've never seen any of the sequels. Some people have told me the second one's better, but I really enjoy the first one. So yeah, I recommend Critters for a light monster movie.
Since I'm not an expert on horror movies, I know this is Movie Minds, but could I throw a TV show out there?
TV Minds.
Eventually, that'll be the spinoff. We can't jump ahead. So what do you? No, that's fine. Why
What do you
not?
got?
We'll allow
What do
it.
you
We'll
got?
allow it. You're growing.
Anything from the Twilight Zone. Oh, Twilight Zone.
I'll accept it. And
Okay.
also, Twilight Zone movie. Good intro.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love the Twilight Zone. So I think most of my horror stuff instead of movies, it was overshadowed by the Twilight Zone TV show.
Right. Perfectly acceptable answer, right?
Yeah,
A lot of
that's
good horror stuff in Twilight Zone and really bringing that cinematic quality of TV back in the day.
Yeah,
Really important.
you
television.
could make they could all be their own movies. Like
Absolutely.
and there's just so many good episodes, but for me, the one, and I love how I always loved the and you're the English guy. What do you call the ending that you're not expecting?
Twist ending?
The twist ending. Yes.
The plot twist, sure.
Plot twist. Every episode has one of those.
But is there some foreshadowing of the plot twist, though? That's when you do it well with a good mystery.
For some episodes, I think there were, but one that I didn't see coming was, do you remember the one where the couple gets in a car accident and they wake up and they're in this deserted town, right? And they're on the train. They see the squirrel that doesn't move. Everything's made of plastic. I forget the name of the episode, but what you find out at the end is they're an alien girl's toys.
Spoilers.
So that is a spoiler. Sorry.
No, but that
like messed me up. That was like watching that as a kid. I'm like, I will never in my life not like get in a car wreck. But yeah, no. So that one freaked me out. The other one was the classic William Shatner episode.
Which one?
On the plane.
Something on the wing.
There's a man.
That's a classic.
On the wing.
I know you guys know that one.
Of course. He also was in another one too. Also involving a couple. He's been in a couple. A lot of classic sci-fi and original series Star Trek people. Originally on Twilight Zone. Yep.
Interesting. Which other one was he in?
I forget the name of it, but it was him and his wife in a diner. And I think, I could be wrong, people, but I think there's like a machine in there that it's one of those silly things, like it tells you a fortune and get what you want or something, and they keep getting messages, but it kind of puts them against each other, something like that. I can't remember. It's another good one. Yeah.
Real quick, another good one. Since we're talking about creepy stuff, the mannequins.
Oh, when you go into it and you think, oh, the mannequins, and then there's the twist where who's actually the mannequin.
Yeah.
They all go out at night.
That's a good one.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna bring it back around.
Cut me off.
Because I'm watching the time here. We got to get to the two big ones eventually. So
okay, we'll get back to that. So this one's kind of a change of pace. We talked about it the other day. The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
So that is. I think it's kind of creepy. It's got creepy elements. So if you've never seen it,
spooky.
It's spooky. It's very weird. It's funny. It's campy. It's a musical. I think the music in the Rocky Horror Picture Show is really cool. That might be my favorite thing about it is the music. Yeah. And it's what we talked about, the science fiction double feature. It lists all those B movies. Yeah.
Gotta watch them.
It's very weird. I remember, I think I watched it when I was 12. Mm-hmm. My dad watched it, and I watched it with him. And it was completely weird. And the character's name's Brad. Oh. Yeah.
That's true.
Brad and
Janet, yeah. Yep, and Tim Curry's so good.
Yeah.
No, that's a great choice. Very fun, and I love how that blends a lot of genres. Yeah, that's a good one. Also, if you want something lighter, you want a musical, you want a comedy, that could fit your needs as well. A little sci-fi in there too, towards the ending. Next one I have here, I brought up briefly. I think I talked to Brad about it in one of our first conversations about movies. Is I'm going to go with the original Suspiria, about this lady going to Europe. And she goes to a dance studio, and it turns out that it may be involved with a cult of witches that she's being drawn into. I love that it's a giallo horror films. I'm not super familiar with them. It's a type of very over-the-top, striking colors, a lot of slasher stuff, very operatic Italian movies. But Suspiria is one I saw that I thought was really good, a classic, great soundtrack, great performances. I also saw the remake, which was... I honestly might like even better, but that's a conversation for another day. So I'm going to recommend the original because it's not as intense. It's a little more relaxed, but stylistically, I love that blend. I love that style. So yeah, Suspiria original for me for my third pick.
So, like I said, I'm just actually looking at some lists right now where I'm like, have I seen any of these? Because for the top 5, I didn't even have top 5 to go off of.
Remember, if you're interested in something.
That's true. I'm going to go with a light-hearted one that I think is just a classic.
Home Alone 2.
No, that's a good one, though. Haunted Mansion.
I don't think I've ever seen Haunted.
There's the original.
The original.
You got to always with the original. Yeah, it's lighthearted. It's fun. Like, I remember as a kid going to Walt Disney World and being so scared as a 4-year-old kid. First time I went to Disney World, 4 years old. I didn't want to go in the Haunted Mansion because I had this misconception that it was like a real haunted house. But then you get on it and you're like, oh, this is fun. This is like the movie, right? Because the movie's not really that scary. So I'll say this is my recommendation. Would be Haunted Mansion, especially since I think most of our audience is under the age of 18 right now. Yeah. So Haunted Mansion, that's going to be my third pick.
There you go.
Something that I've seen, I can talk to. Haunted Mansion, third pick.
Okay, this would be my fourth pick. I'm going to build off of, so this one was, I believe, inspired by Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. I think I was trying to think of something. I tend to like older movies, it seems like, but this one was new. So it uses that whole. So Blair Witch, you have the handheld. Paranormal Activities using like security cameras. So I'm not going to give anything away. You can take a watch it, but I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is a cool movie. It's got a lot of jump scares." Have you seen it?
No.
Your butt would be worn out by the end. Okay, but
from all the coaching.
After I watched it, I lived in an apartment by myself, so I went home. I went to go to sleep, and it was messing with me. It creeped me out a little bit.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I'll watch it, but
we'll see.
All right.
That won't really get you.
Wait till I'm settled in my house for a year or two, right?
You know,
right now we still got to get the priest over to bless it.
Night terrors.
Yeah, past the little stray noises in there. Like, oh yeah, that's just the the boiler or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the neighbor to come over. It's like, you know who lived in this house? No, and I don't really want to. I'm sorry.
Don't tell me. No. Let's see. My fourth. I actually just picked two of my favorites for the last two because they were the first two horror movies to come to mind. Phantasm. I absolutely love. Is that a high five come my way?
No, I just watched that a few nights ago.
Oh, great!
And I had never seen it.
Oh, great. Well, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I guess not now. But yeah, no, Phantasm is one of my favorite horror movies. If you want to talk about a franchise that's basically monsters and like slasher-esque creatures, I love the Tall Man because he's just really he's literally this epitome of death and the fear of death, and he's kind of like Undertaker, but he might be an otherworldly being, and his motivations are really sinister and kind of ambiguous. So we don't really know what he's up to. But really great 70s horror flick. Really cool machines he uses, too, with the spheres. Very iconic, great low-budget or mid-budget horror movie. Love Phantasms. Great soundtrack, again.
So this other one, only seen bits and pieces. And I don't know if you guys would classify it as horror. Can we go with Silence of the Lambs?
I actually put it on my short list. I was thinking about it as a thriller, but some people classify it as horror. So yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
So this will be the only thing I say about Silence of the Lambs. Actually, never saw it. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I have a really funny story with it that I think our audience will find. When I was in college,
you dressed up.
No.
As what?
So in college.
As what?
So let me tell it. So in college, I just got back from a run.
Censored.
And my friends had just got done watching it, and they knew that like I didn't like horror stuff, so they're like, "Hey, you ever see this movie?" I'm like, "No, I've heard so much about it, but I've never seen it." And so they showed me the scene when with the lotion in the pit.
Oh.
And I don't know whether it was because I had just got done running and I didn't drink water yet, or the fact that like I fainted. Like I fainted when I saw that part. Yeah, because I
fell out.
I fainted for like first time I ever fainted in my life. Yeah, I had like you feel the blood rush to your head.
What's gonna happen when I make you watch the movie?
I mean, I'm older now.
Strap
so
in.
yeah.
Oh,
but dude, it was the first time I ever fainted.
Puts the lotion on its skin.
Yeah, I woke up.
Puts it in the basket.
Or else it gets the hose again.
Also, but see, I had seen Joe Dirt before that.
Oh,
yeah, and I never put two and two together.
Same guy.
So, Buffalo.
Joe.
That's a cool song. Hugh Lazarus, Goodbye Horses is playing in there.
It's a great song.
It's a really cool
but
song.
It's forever associated
Weird
with the
scene.
silence.
Yeah.
Let's not go any further into that.
So that's number 4 for me. That's
cool.
number
That's
4.
a good movie.
That's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
one. All
I
right.
figured you guys
I'm gonna
would
take
like
it out. I had a bunch of different ideas come to mind, but I'm gonna go with The Exorcist.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Was a good pick.
So these are kind of like The Shining, Exorcist. I think are kind of obvious, but that was a huge, it was a huge social phenomenon when it came out. People were actually, speaking of falling out. I remember reading about people were actually like passing out, getting sick in the movie theater with the green soup, and the thing about The Exorcist is great use of music and sound effects. Really creepy.
And makeup too.
Yeah, makeup. Linda Blair does an awesome job in that, and it's actually based on what's supposed to is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really good movie, and it has a good. It's horrific. You feel for the girl, and then it has kind of like a good ending
Uplifting
to it,
kind
uplifting
of.
end. Yeah, it's nice. So that's my last pick.
That's a
Exorcist. Yeah.
great pick. Honestly, my last one is kind of obvious. I'm not going to say too much about it either. I'm just going to say Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah.
I feel like don't need to say too much, but I find Freddy Krueger fascinating. He's my favorite slasher villain. I love that film emphatically. I mean, Halloween we talked about set the template, but I think that that's really the pinnacle for me. But that's all I'll say because I feel like we'll talk about that somewhere down the line.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Fifth one for me, like I said, it's one of the only ones I've seen, and was another college movie. I'm gonna go with The Conjuring.
Okay.
From what I remember of it, I really liked it. I thought it had a good. There wasn't too many jump scares in it, from what I remember, or at least ones that like freaked me out.
That was one where I appreciated it because it was almost like going back to form, where instead of doing jump scares and all that, it really built the atmosphere of like an older '70s horror film. So yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that it's in New England, like when you think New England, you think like Salem witch trials, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like you just said, it's kind of like a newer throwback.
Yeah, I thought about the Amityville Horror, and it's in Long Island. It's like got that kind of feel. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, there you have it. 5 spooky recommendations or possible recommendations from us for future viewings potentially. Now we move on into the main event. Frankenstein versus Dracula. 2 titans go off. I don't know. Who wants to start this one?
Well, to quote Apollo from Rocky, ding, ding. ding.
I don't know.
You want to start?
Sure.
How you want to do this? Just keep it loose, go back and forth.
Yeah. It's not like I really planned that much either. I wanted to get more notes and everything, but you know how it is.
I didn't really make any notes.
So it's okay.
Oh, don't worry.
All right, look.
I got
mad timestamps.
Okay. Well, let's see. I just have to talk about Frankenstein. Okay. I want to talk about Dracula too. Okay.
Yeah, I want to talk about Frankenstein.
Okay. Yeah, we will. So yeah. Okay. This is your job. Listen. Occasional comment, and then we'll try to do best with time. Okay. Hold us to the people. Second round. All right. Frankenstein. I'll just say first of all, I'm slightly biased, and I try to keep my biases in touch. But first of all, as an English teacher and just somebody who loved classic literature, I love both the original books. Frankenstein, the original novel by Mary Shelley, is one of my favorite. It's my favorite book, honestly.
Okay.
The film is not the most accurate adaptation of the book, but that's okay. I think the spirit of it is there. It is iconic. In some ways, it has transcended it. I'll be honest. I don't know or I don't remember if I saw the movie in full until this time. Like if I did, maybe when I was very young or in pieces. I really like it. I really do. I think that it's one of those things where the thing that stuck out to me about both the movies, but especially this one, I think that you look at a lot of movies from around that time, and you have to remember when you're thinking about film history that, especially this is only a couple years into sound, and previously movies were basically just theater. You know, you might have had more static camera movements and things like that. This is around the time where they started getting more innovative. And I'm just thinking about some of the slow pull-ins from a cinematography point of view. Think about how early that stuff was established and how that really changed the game. And I didn't realize that Frankenstein had done so much from a cinematography point of view, but the lighting is really good. The sets are good, some good locations, and they make really good use of them. And even when it is kind of corny, like for instance, when they're running outside and it's kind of a backdrop, it still looks really good. It doesn't really take you out of it. And those are the only times I thought that, okay, the limitations are showing, but it kind of adds to the charm of the movie. The rest of the time when it's inside or it's the castle, I love those sets. Some of the elaborate things going on in the lab. But all that being said, the story is good. The essence of the story of this man trying to kind of take control of life and death and how really that kind of destroys him and he kind of has a little bit of redemption. Like the performances make the movie. Like there's some just really strong performances from everybody in it. Dr. Frankenstein, I didn't realize how in this version he's more sinister. I think he is than he is in the novel, but I like how that changes. Like he really is the monster, and they play with that from the themes of the original novel, where the monster, of course, is hated, but who's the real monster here? The one who created him or the creation? So I like that this movie plays with that while keeping it simple, and they actually add more elements of the novel into The Bride of Frankenstein. They kind of combine them, but obviously the main man himself, Boris Karloff, as the creature, I don't know if I can understate it because it's so obvious, but he does an excellent job with so little, with how he emotes, how he walks, and you really get the sense where they're building up, like, oh yeah, I tied a bunch of these limbs together. You believe it, and he's like a massive force of nature, and I love how there's so much going on with such a simple story. Like there, even though we don't hear a lot of dialogue from the monster necessarily, he's kind of a tragic figure, which is interesting for a horror movie. The horror isn't necessarily the monster completely. It's more everything that's going on, the people, the involvement, the circumstances, also people's reactions to him. Because once again, kind of like in the book, he's abandoned. People start fearing him, and his assistant starts waving the torch at him. I was watching with my wife and realizing no wonder it goes bad because people automatically assume the worst of him, don't accept him, and then it's just kind of a tragic story after that point, and he's kind of on the run. So I mean, I think it's amazing how well it was paced. It really didn't drag much. I thought it was very well lit, good sound for the time too. Just I think it was dominated by really good performances, a good story with good source material they got the essence from, and just the makeup and the acting chops. Really for the creature, just I can understand why it took off, and this solidified Frankenstein as an image and an icon, but just as a good movie. It's really well done. It's a classic, and I didn't really expect otherwise. So that's pretty much all my initial thoughts.
Okay, yeah. The same thing with me. I had seen both of these before, but I don't know if I'd ever seen all of either one of them. So rewatching that, I definitely hadn't seen all of Frankenstein before until I rewatched that. With Dracula, same thing. You have the novel by Bram Stoker. With Dracula, well, of course you have Bela Lugosi, iconic looking. I like to he keeps lighting his eyes up, so you get that menacing. Yeah.
Real quick though, wish you could have been at trivia last night because he was mentioned in a question.
Oh yeah, buried in his coffin. Yeah, yeah.
That's you know what? I remember hearing that now that you mentioned that. Yeah.
Talk about dedication to your role. He's like, yeah,
dude. Not to change. What was that? Plan 9 from Outer Space.
That's like his last movie. He's in one of the worst movies ever made. His last one. So got to show Brandon that sometime.
Yeah, that's often. Yeah, that's out there.
Ed Wood.
So of course Bela Lugosi, just very iconic. The look. Both of these, okay, they set the tone for monster movies. Made both of them in 1931. Frankenstein after Dracula. Again, you're limited in 1931, but I like what they did with some of the play of the light. I will point out something that I was thinking a lot about. There's an actor that's in both of them, and that's Dwight Fry. He plays Renfield and he plays Fritz.
Oh, same guy?
I thought he's awesome. Like his maniacal eyes when they're on the ship. What is it, the Vesta or whatever? When it docks there, he's down and low. They open it up and he's like that. He's a great maniac.
Honestly, I think he was one of the strongest points of the film.
Yeah. And he did a great job as Fritz. Like he looks like that. Not to be confused with Don the Predator Fry, the martial artist. And then I was looking it up, and did you know Alice Cooper made a song called "The Ballad of Dwight Fry"?
No,
it's not really about him per se, but it was a tribute to Dwight Fry. Yeah. So I really like the way. Like they kept bringing Renfield in different scenes, and you kind of feel bad for him. I thought I'm supposed to be defending Dracula here, but I thought they could have did a little better job with the Dracula role, the Dracula as a character.
Well, with both these movies, remember runtime. I feel like they both were like we have to get from point A to point B. See, I'm defending Dracula a little bit too. You know what? Well, elaborate on that because I think you're right. I think Bela Lugosi does a great job. He has that presence.
Yeah, he's awesome. I kind of on one hand I kind of like it. He just shows up on the porch, or he shows up on the balcony there or whatever.
Hello, I'm there.
Yeah, walks in and they're like, hey,
hey, wait, we didn't know you were coming over. Yeah. Hey, I'm Dracula.
Van Helsing's like, whatever. He's like, you better go home. He's like, you can kiss me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. But that was cool. I like the opening scene. I like when he's traveling over there to the Carpathian Mountains.
Do you like how everybody just warns him not to go up there? And he's like, you're just superstitious
Yeah.
folk. He just ignores it all.
I'm going up there anyway. I got a sale to make.
I got the
I'm
lease.
a capitalist. Yeah, so he's going up there.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, so it's really, I love Bela Lugosi in that role.
Mm-hmm. Can I help you out with something
Yeah.
that stuck out to me? I think that the strongest thing about Dracula for me was the interplay between Dracula and Van Helsing, because I really liked their dynamic.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I did like that. So one thing to get back to that, I kind of wasn't a fan of how like he just shows up and like they're not that threatened. Yeah, but then like the discussion there, you get that pulls out the crucifix, you got to back off, and then so
I think we've said our piece. I want you to say your thoughts on both films, and then we might try to give you some tidbits to help you out as well.
Yeah. So I'll just run through my notes, things I've noticed. When I watched Dracula first, then I watched Frankenstein second. And I tried to do a compare and contrast kind of thing. So since I watched Dracula first, these notes are more things I've noticed about Dracula, and then when I get into Frankenstein, I'll have more comparing. But one thing I did like about both movies, did not realize this because I haven't really watched a whole lot of older films. I liked having the credits in the beginning.
That's nice.
Like, get them out of the way. Like, we don't, Now, of course, Marvel kind of revolutionized the importance of staying for the credits, but
remember back in the day there were a lot less people to make a movie, so you could get it done quickly. Now if they did that, it would be like hundreds or thousands of people, so that might be part of it.
I accidentally had the subtitles on, so I always thought, now Dracula, that took place, I didn't realize it took place in England for a lot of the movies.
Most of it, yeah.
Nor, I always thought he was Romania, but they were speaking Hungarian.
I think that was just a choice for the movie because maybe they were like, we know Hungarian or something. I'm not sure why that is, but I did notice that, yeah.
Okay. I talked about the castle. I appreciated the imagery there. It kind of looked like a painting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I liked that. One thing I did not like, though, about, kind of both movies, and you kind of brought it up, not a lot of sound. And I guess that's just the time. But
I knew you were going to bring that up because I remember you told me your frustrations.
I'm a sound guy.
I know you're like the sound wasn't the best. Another thing you might notice is kind of less soundtrack for the films, especially Dracula. Also, this was a time where the layering, I'm guessing, for audio wasn't as advanced. So back in the day, for things like Dracula or Frankenstein, just out of the silent era, there'd be an orchestra playing along in the theater. So, and I found this out too because we were watching Dracula without it. I'm like, okay, this is making it feel like it's dragging. In the collector's edition we have, there's a lot of cool features. You can actually watch the film with the soundtrack of an orchestra that went along with it.
Interesting.
So that might
probably.
So before you make your final judgment, you might have watched it without the soundtrack.
People, you got to go to the store and buy this right now. Do not watch the one online. That's why it's free. You got to go to the store and buy this one.
The Legacy Collection. Go ahead.
So to our fan about the timestamps, I tried to get some timestamps in there. At 12 minutes, 20 seconds, I wrote, blood is... I wrote...
12 minutes, 20 seconds.
Stamp it. Blood. That needs to go on a t-shirt. Sarah actually said, we need to put a t-shirt. You've been timestamped.
I love it. Oh, yes.
Blood is the life when referring to a spider eating a bug.
Ooh.
Yes, I thought that was very philosophical of me. But
a timestamp when I had a good take. That sounds good. Let me timestamp in. It's actually in the official film now.
Got a little recorded. That's right.
I said
12 minutes, 20 seconds.
So you know the scene I'm talking about, right?
I had a great thought about the spider.
Yeah.
When he's winning the spider versus the flies.
Yes.
Once again on display.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great acting.
I made a note of shying away from the rosary. I feel like that's common knowledge about vampires, though. But I liked how they had it in the film. I appreciated that there was something Catholic in it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I did make a note about Catholicism and Frankenstein, too.
Okay.
I thought they could have done a better job of really explaining what was going on versus Frankenstein. So, for example, I even wrote this down. Who is Renfield and why are they going to England? Like, they kind of just say, like, are you ready for your trip to England? Like,
it doesn't go over the
in Nosferatu. They take time in the silent movie. They explain he's at the leasing office. So they do kind of it. I think Frankenstein structured a little better.
Yeah,
and
I actually do.
Yeah, and well, I'm sure we'll get into that during Frankenstein because I have a lot of good things about Frankenstein. We need to bring back top hats. Okay, that needs to be a thing. I'm sorry, but I think a top hat. I think Cam Newton wore one like a year or two ago when he was doing a press conference. That's got to come back. I'm sorry. Like, I love the fashion of Dracula.
Let me ask you though, if Dracula definitely can dress well. Will you have to wear the scowl like Lugosi, staring off into people's souls?
In this day and age, I'm gonna say no because
so aggressive,
like that. Yeah, it's a different world now. Like, I feel like you could get away with that in 1931, but no, I thought as far as the cost.
Hey, that guy's got a top hat. Let him go.
But I'm getting to my serious point. I thought the costumes were better in Dracula. I thought I took note to that. I thought they did a better job with the dress.
Honestly, I thought the costumes were pretty good in Frankenstein. I think they're pretty close.
Okay,
pretty cool. But yeah, there was some great costuming there for sure.
We already brought up the sound. So I may be wrong in this. I didn't know that Dracula took the form of a wolf.
Mm-hmm. Wolf, bat, all the creatures of the night.
I thought it was just a bat.
No, it
nope.
does.
By the way, do we want to take an appreciation for the obviously bat on a string?
Oh, I like that. What's his bat doing there? It's the size of a seagull. He's like,
and that just goes, that was weird, Oh, that was great. Loved it.
And then I wrote just my concluding thoughts. I thought Dracula had terrible flow, and I thought Frankenstein's flow was a lot better. And then
rap battle, that flow, Frankenstein.
we could do that for Movie Minds. We could do rap battles of movies.
Oh man.
No.
I'll check back with you on that one.
And then here's something kind of symbolic, though. Are we doing spoilers or?
I'm pretty sure people are pretty confident about
right
Dracula and Frankenstein.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
When he died at the end,
spoilers.
I thought of that as Mina kind of being freed. And you can obviously see it in her face and her emotion, right? So it's kind of symbolism there. But let's get into the one that, and I think it should be obvious at this point.
We already know.
The one that I enjoyed watching more. Doesn't mean that it's the better movie. I think I'm giving like my official ruling at the end. I'm just going to say I enjoyed watching this one more. Doesn't mean it's the better movie. I enjoyed watching it more. So this is where the compare and contrast comes in. And please butt in because I don't want to take over anything.
He's taking over, man. You okay with that?
Well, I mean, I think we got to have like three. There's three of us, so I want to make sure everybody, gets, even. I tend to be a talker, as my students will tell you.
Are you asking if we mind?
See what you did there. Both Universal films. I did not know that, actually. I did not know, as a business person, that Universal Studios has been around for almost 100 years. I did not know that.
Universal Monsters, man.
So can you tell me the history? Is Universal like the first?
That's an early studio film company. I don't know if it's the first, but yeah, they've been around a while.
Because when was Walt Disney? Is that 30s too?
Walt Disney just hit its anniversary.
Yeah, I think I feel like Walt Disney is around this time. Maybe a little. This is like Steamboat Willie era. I don't know if he was doing movies yet because Snow White was like 39. So I think this might be just before
Warner
Disney
Brothers was around.
WB, yeah.
I don't know. MGM
maybe
was Warner Brothers movies at that point, or were they? Because they did Looney Tunes. That was a TV show.
Oh, they had they had movies.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been around a while. They're some of the biggest studios. So yeah, they've been around a while. Yeah.
Okay. I like the introduction warning at the beginning of the movie.
This is gonna be scary if you watch it. That is good.
Yeah.
Actually, not to interject, but when my wife and I were watching it, she said after that part, I already like this one better. It's got a sense of humor, but it's also like, this is scary. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah, and I appreciated that too. So my wife actually, she did not watch Dracula with me, but she did watch Frankenstein. And something that she noticed that I also thought was hilarious that she caught, Monster is how they have him in the credits. They don't
With the question mark.
Question mark,
Does
yeah.
anybody play? He's just the monster, which
Yeah.
might
Cool.
add to the essence of it.
Who is the actor, by the way?
Boris Karloff.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, Boris Karloff.
Open now. That funeral in the beginning. This was a question I had for you. Is that a Catholic funeral? Because Sarah said it also could have been Anglican. Do you remember?
At the beginning of Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be. It's in Switzerland, so most likely that's brother Catholic, yeah.
Okay. Because
Look like it. They're yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on what part of Switzerland too.
Well, it wouldn't be Anglican because that would be in England.
So Lutheran, but I don't think it would be Lutheran either.
No, I think it's obviously supposed to be Roman Catholic with the.
Well, Frankenstein, I think, takes place in Switzerland.
With the Beretta. That priest is wearing a Beretta. You have the crucifix there.
I also didn't know that. I didn't know that Frankenstein took place in Switzerland. I always associated it with Germany for some reason, so I was wrong on that.
Close enough. Close.
Let's see. Obviously, another comparison, same year as Dracula. 1931, good year for movies. Both had a lot of coffins. The coffin was
You don't
kind of
say.
like, yeah. I mean, just some
Fair
imagery I've
amount of
noticed.
yeah.
Symbolically, touching on some symbolism, the death may be a theme in both of these films, dropping some literary terms in there for you.
Oh, did you notice this? This is something I know. I think it was a mistake when filming. The skeleton, after it was supposed to stop bobbing in that classroom scene, you can still see it bobbing.
Oh yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah.
Timestamp.
That's actually.
Where's the
I did
timestamp?
make a timestamp. That's actually at 8 minutes. So 8 minutes into the film.
8 minutes.
Then it doesn't bob up and down when it zooms in on Fritz, but then it's bobbing up and down again.
Whoops.
Could you imagine?
Look, they only had so much film back in the day. We can't afford to film anymore. That's it.
Could you imagine? I think it'd be funny if some intern that accidentally bumped it. But,
that might be the story. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Let's see. Oh, I thought it was. I like that he accidentally took the abnormal brain, which is how we get the monster to begin with.
Criminal Mind, yes.
By the way, I don't like Fritz at all. Just like Bob in Halloween.
I don't think you're supposed to.
Yeah, terrible person.
I think he's worse than Bob. I know you weren't a big fan of Bob, but he's waving fire. He's torturing the boy.
Bob had it coming, so Fritz.
Oh well, if Bob had it coming, Fritz.
Oh, that even a question. Fritz. That was.
Wait, didn't Fritz get hung up too?
I think he got strangled.
Oh, okay.
Because that was the monster's usual method of attack.
I thought Fritz got hung. Did he get strangled?
Don't they open the door and he's hanging there?
Fact check us.
Get a timestamp.
Get timestamp. Find it. But yes, he does get killed by the monster. I know that much. Yeah.
I thought the story was a lot better and more creative than Dracula. I thought it was more of I don't know. I just thought that more thought and creativity went into Frankenstein.
Okay.
Love the Dr. Frankenstein actor who played Dr. Frankenstein. What's his name?
Really intense.
Yeah.
Intense guy. Almost villainous for much of the movie. He's pretty. Oof.
Yeah.
Could do what I want.
Took bodies from graves and obsessed with his work. Crazy but a genius. Kind of the same thing you just said. I made note of this symbolic. Thunderstorm is fitting during the giving life scene.
Ooh.
I love that. I loved how they had the lightning storm. It just sounded good.
But really, Frankenstein is like a man trying to gain control over nature, over life and death. So harness that power. You got to remember before too, lightning was a mysterious element.
Ooh, what is it?
It's preternatural. So you're trying to harness that
life.
Yeah, and then you have the old story. You heard the story of the golem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of a different thing, but you kind of bring
what the monster is.
Yeah.
So I summed that up, and I know we're getting short on time. I put this in all caps too, so I knew I wouldn't forget to say it. Frankenstein is about life, while Dracula is more about death.
Ooh, I like that. Good contrast.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's also why I think Frankenstein likes the light. right?
Oh, he almost wants to escape
Oh,
that
yeah,
dark, and I love
yeah.
when he's reaching up to them. He's like, I just
Oh
want to be
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff is awesome with his
I
eyes
so
and yeah.
like really, I don't. I mean, I guess obviously he gets the praise, but I know the makeup is great, but
Mhm.
the acting, being able to emote without much dialogue, is really impressive.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wrap it up here. Last paragraph of my notes. I definitely felt sympathy for Frankenstein. I'm happy you mentioned that. The most heartbreaking scene for me through the whole thing, though, was Maria drowning, because, like, he's kind of like a man-child, right? He's a baby. Like,
Yeah,
and
he's just born basically.
yeah, and the look on his face when you see him grow, like, I just did something bad, but he can't really
Process what
he did. Like, he knows what he did was bad, but I don't think he fully understood that she's not going to come out of the river.
Which is why he runs away. Like, I got to run away from this because I don't know how to process the ramifications.
Exactly.
But of course, he's a monster. Everyone runs after him, and then to the tragic ending.
It was, like I said, it was really fun to watch him grow. And then I think just overall, I just like Frankenstein better. But I wanted to say something that I thought was kind of funny. Was that last scene really needed with the wine? I thought you just watched this like amazing movie, and then that's how they end it. Just them drinking wine. Like, come on now.
They're fine. Yeah, the end. Because they want to let the audience know, yeah, he made it out okay, even though he becomes a dummy and breaks his back. But no, he's fine.
Yeah.
When he falls on the windmill, I was like, I remember, yeah, man was like, oh yeah, he's fine. I'm like, how? He literally became a sack. It became a special effect, and his body's probably. Oh no, he's in the hospital. He's fine. It's literally just to say they probably. I don't know if they had test audiences back then, but they probably no, this is too dark, too grim.
Well, yeah, that's intense.
So
I like that scene too. When it pans out, you got the fire in the windmill.
Oh yeah, like
that's
that.
Really
I
cool.
think they should have edited there, hit home the tragic element, and then the end, as opposed to, well, that's too dark. We'll let him know he was redeemed. He lived happily ever after with his wife. I hate when movies do that. So we can. All right, my only real negative about Frankenstein, but I agree. That's a little bit of a little cop out, I think, with the ending. Go hard for the strong ending.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm one of those heartless people that says Iron Giant. They should have killed the giant. I'm serious. Toy Story 3. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But
save that for when we do those movies.
I'm in the minority. But anyway, yes.
Did you want me to give an official ruling at the end? Even though I think it's obvious.
It is.
All doing that?
Or? We'll maybe add a few final thoughts. Do we have anything we want to add?
Because I did. Yeah, with Dracula, I think if we're just going head to head here, it got into the plot a little quicker. It got into the flow a little quicker than Frankenstein. I thought Frankenstein was dragging a little bit at the beginning.
Interesting.
I don't know. That's just the way
That's really weird you say that, because I thought the opposite.
Really?
I think this is basically my summary of the two films. I think that Frankenstein is better put together and paced overall. I think it's also simpler, like plot-wise. Like Amanda pointed out that there's kind of a lot going on in Dracula that you have to pay attention, which isn't a bad thing, but that might be a struggle for how slow and it kind of lags in certain parts. But I think that Dracula was a bit slow, and once Dracula shows up in England and starts interacting with everybody, I think those interactions with him and Van Helsing, some of the threatening stuff when he tries to basically kind of like as a pre-Darth Vader try to use the Force on him, come here, and Van Helsing has a strong will and resist. There's basically, that's my summary. I think overall Frankenstein's better put together, but Dracula had some really excellent moments that stood out to me more than all of Frankenstein. Like I said, the interplay with some of the characters. I think this one is kind of with Bela Lugosi's character is kind of one of his performance really holds it together. All the other little ones.
The acting made that film.
Yeah, the performances in Dracula kind of really helped it out.
Yeah,
and I actually fell asleep 5 times while watching Dracula.
You should have put that soundtrack on, man.
Can we get a timestamp?
I had to go back. I didn't get to sleep till 2:00 in the morning.
What, with Dracula?
Yeah,
you kept nodding off.
Frankenstein, I was into it.
That's
I started at the same time. But I think you were about to say something, so I didn't.
No.
I did also mention about the willpower of the Doctor.
Van Helsing. I just love that scene. Although I think he thought he came off a little bit dry, perhaps. But I like that he's just kind of like, if you mess with us, Dracula, I'm going to hunt you down. You back away.
Yeah.
So I love the dialogue there. But I think that's wrapping it up. are we kind of officially deciding as a group, or I guess I know that you have a reveal here of your pick.
And then we have
What do you
to.
got?
We didn't change his mind.
Well, we also have to give our brains too.
Oh yeah, our brains. That's right.
Okay, so
Oh,
you want to
man.
do the brains first, then the big reveal?
Fine, the
Or-
big reveal. We'll save you for last then. All
Okay.
right, Brad will give you the tough job. The brains
You want me to go first?
Out of 5.
For both?
for both. Yep.
Let's start with Dracula. Out of 5 minds, 5 suspended alien brains, I'm going to give Dracula 4. I'm going to give Dracula 4 minds. And I'm going to give Frankenstein, this might sound odd to divide a brain up, I'm going to give Frankenstein 4.3 minds.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna kind of copy you because that's roughly what I thought. I think they're both excellent films. I think they're very important for film history. They're both very good. But I personally like Frankenstein a little more. I think it's a little better put together. I'm gonna give it. I'm probably gonna give Frankenstein about 4.5 minds. I don't think it's quite perfect, but it's really close.
0.2 more minds.
Yeah, I'll give you a little more than the 4.3. Yeah, I'll give it the 4.5, half a mind more. Dracula, solid 4. 4 suspended minds for me.
So your 4.3 is that abnormal brain. Then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, normal brain. Yeah.
So I'll do Dracula first. I'm gonna give it. You convinced me that it's better than I thought it was. So I'm gonna give it 3 minds, and I'm actually gonna give our friend Frankenstein 4.5 minds. Obviously, the better of the films. I loved it. I actually got this at the dollar store on my way here.
we have a deal with them too.
That's right, the dollar store.
We're rolling it out now.
Not to be confused with Dollar Tree.
I said Dollar General.
Dollar General?
Yeah, to
Oh.
be specific.
We
We're going
must.
fancy.
We betrayed so many people. I thought we were with brothers.
Yeah, I actually went and asked the lady, "Where's your Halloween stuff?" And she told me where it was located, and this was the only
Everywhere.
thing. No, they're actually running
Really?
out. Yeah.
Oh, well, we're
hey,
closing
it's
in.
that inventory, baby. Come on, they don't want to order more Halloween stuff.
Did you flash your movie minds?
She actually never heard of us. But I always on the marketing campaign. But I saw this little guy here, and I said, "That's perfect. I think this is supposed to be Frankenstein."
Frankenstein's monster, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
It almost looks like a green pumpkin. To
Yeah,
me,
it's
but-
like a
yeah. So Frankenstein is my pick for the better of the two. As somebody that came into it, had never seen both of them. Again, 3 stars or 3 brains for Dracula. 4.5 for Frankenstein, and again, that is the abnormal brain.
All right, you've heard it, people. We recommend both of these classic films if you've never seen them, but I believe we have decided Frankenstein is the official winner on Movie Minds at the very least, because we're so official. We a few minutes left. Do we want to do a brief hint at next month's movie? At least one of them.
Well, didn't give a hint.
Well, it's kind of the same hint we gave last time, right? Because
we didn't know we were going to be doing this episode, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we promise those of you that have been waiting that
the
Toy
guy's there
Story-
with his Woody hat. Like, what the
Toy Story
Dracula?
Toy Story will be the next film. Hold on. Then the same guy goes on next month. It's like, all right, we're here to talk
Edward
about
Scissorhands.
Wrong month. What are you doing? We're not that disorganized yet. But yeah, next month, Thanksgiving we're going to do Toy Story, and we're going to put the poll up. So please let us know what you thought of the video. If you're listening on Substack, let us know there, and give us some ideas for movies you'd like us to talk about next month. And let's say goodbye.
This is Brad signing off.
And this is Joe signing off.
Brandon signing off.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
See you.
Thanks, guys.
Movie Minds. It is a movie discussion podcast. I am Joe.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.